record just in case. Okay, you can start.
Now, okay. Okay. สวัสดีค่ะอาจารย์ Okay. Good morning อาจารย์โตอาจารย์เศรษฐา and อาจารย์สุกรี Thank you for joining me in my proposal, pre-project proposal presentation. So I am presenting um the proposal for my senior project, which I have the working title is Project Gold Leaf, and it is a 2D Souls-like platformer action game, which is a lot of words. But we'll go through it bit by bit. Okay, so the goal is to develop a polished, high-quality 2D action game. I am strategically combining two popular game genres, the exploration-heavy Metroidvania and the combat-focused Souls-like. We'll get into more detail shortly about this decision, but let's go a bit into the scope. So, um, the scope is creating three complex interconnected levels that culminates in three major boss encounters. So level is a bit misleading because actually, as it's a Metroidvania game, all the levels will be connected, and the player has the freedom to explore any area at any time. Um, so the levels are more like areas, regions in the game. Uh, okay. I am drawing inspiration from industry giants like Hollow Knight, most obviously, and also so Hollow Knight for atmospheric exploration, and Elden Ring for its combat depth, as well as other games that I have liked playing. So. To start off, let's discuss a significant challenge to the project, which has really defined why the game is the way it is, which is that so it's tempting to make a 2D platformer as an indie developer because it is fairly simple. It's quite relatively speaking compared to other genres, like RPGs, MMOs. Platformer is quite easy to get a finished game together. However, because of this, the market for the standard 2D platformer is a red ocean, which means that it's extremely saturated, making it practically impossible to stand out for competitors, especially for indie developers. So, simply making a platformer isn't enough. We need a strategic edge. And my solution is genre blending. So it's actually like three genres combined to run. We have first the Metroidvania genre, which is a game genre wherein progress is gated by abilities. The market for this robust niche is estimated to be worth $500 million in 2025 and growing in 2026. Second, the Souls-like genre is defined by challenging combat. It is growing even faster than Metroidvania, estimated at 1.5 billion US dollars. It is especially popular in Asian markets like China and India. And by targeting the intersection of these two high growth markets, we position the project for even higher demand. The commercial proof is undeniable. Hollow Knight has sold over 50 million copies, and the sequel, Silk Song, is a global phenomenon. Additionally, we have Blasphemous as another example. Blasphemous is a peer in the genre Souls mix-up genre, and it has sold over 4 million units. So the market appetite for this specific blend is massive. There's a demand out there. So to further differentiate this game from competitors, I'm making tweaks to the core gameplay loop and aesthetics. So most current competitors, like Blasphemous, for example, rely on a dark, gothic, and macabre theme. I'm consciously moving away from this. Furthermore, I'm innovating on boss interactions. So I've talked to some of my friends who play like Souls-like and met these kinds of games, and they say they haven't encountered this before. So what happens is that defeated bosses aren't just gone. They're not like a one-time reward thing. Players can materialize the bosses for unique dialogues, enriching the narrative, and using special boss abilities. We'll go into more depth into that later. For now, let's move to character design just a little bit. So this is some of the early iterations and the wireframe for the player character. And this is the current iteration on the right. So um, our protagonist features a lotus bud helmet, and this is very intentional. The color palette is also based on the Nymphea nushali, which is the scientific name for the blue lotus. It's not a common lotus species, and it has like lots of symbolism in Buddhism, but also in like ancient Egyptian mythology. So this kind of symbolized the innocence from the start, and moving to the player will move towards a state of blooming at the end through exploration and learning and understanding combat. They can essentially become more enlightened to better understand the world and themselves through completing the game. So you can note the regarding the character design, note the orange gem. So this is complementary to the general palette of purple and blue, and it symbolizes kind of the natural magic of the gem, and we'll get more into what the gem does in a bit as well. So let's now talk about the most important part about a video game, which is the mechanics. Okay, so it's a 2D platformer, so the player can move from left to right and also up and down by jumping and falling. Players can jump at a variable height, allowing for some platforming challenges. So holding the jump input results in higher jump height. Regarding combat, the player has two basic attacks. So light attacks are faster but deal more damage. Sorry, faster but deal less damage and have less range. Whereas heavy combats are slower but deal more damage and can be used to cover longer distances. Um, because players can't cancel animations once they're performed. Combat requires commitment. If you are going to attack, you have to make sure it is the right timing, or you will be punished for that. So both players and enemy attacks are locked in, demanding that the player memorizes patterns and exploit openings rather than simply button mashing and praying for the best. So the core combat loop is to learn boss attack patterns, with some dodging, instinctual dodging, as well as retaliating during openings. So as the player progresses, they will unlock new tools by exploring and beating bosses to absorb their abilities. This will come in the form of AoEs, sorry, area of effects, and also range attacks. So so here is the example of the light attack, and this is the heavy attack, which will how do I describe it? It's like a mode of the weapon that you can unlock once you have performed certain certain functions, and then you can unlock the heavy attack. Yeah. Okay, so survival relies on resource management. Healing items are rarely dropped by enemies, so Ajanto knows that in the earlier versions of the build, every enemy drops healing items. So to balance this out, I have now made it so that the healing items are dropped uh, only infrequently. However, players instead collect a um, stat attribute called Respers, as you can see in this bar here. When you strike enemies, they will um, expel Whispers. which is in the lore. It's like the souls of dead people, that power you. Okay, so the whispers can be used to create the healing consumables. But when you do use the healing consumables, sorry, when you create the healing consumables, the player is frozen in place momentarily. It's a commitment. So this forces the player into a tactical trade-off. Do you use the whispers immediately to craft the healing items, which will mean that you are vulnerable to attacks, you can't dodge, you're frozen for like a few seconds? Or do you save up the whispers because the whispers will also, it's the same meters that is used to power up the boss abilities. So you can choose to like heal immediately, which may be like a short-term, short-term benefit, or you can save it up, which risks like player being killed from attacks because they're not at full health, but you can pull off a boss ability which will cause the enemy or the boss to take a lot of damage. Um, Moving on, the game also has a currency system. So you can earn gold by exploring around the world and defeating enemies, and these will be used to purchase useful items from the merchants, the NPC merchants. There is also an inventory system, which is used to view items, equip gems for passive effects, equip maybe outfits in the future, and also equipping quick slots for consumables. So if you want to use consumables like the healing consumables, you would have to equip it in a quick slot first. There is also a world map that you can purchase from the merchant. It will show you points of interest like checkpoints, doors, boss arenas, etc. And it's not unlocked automatically, so you would have to purchase the map as you um, from the merchant as you explore. The map pieces will be available for you to purchase as you further explore. It's similar to Hollow Knight again. It incentivizes you to do your own exploration, but also to use the money you gain to help you as well. So okay, well designed. Checkpoints are sparse, but there will be multiple shortcuts leading back to previous checkpoints. So this reduces the amount of time spent backtracking and it ensures a smoother level flow. I don't like it when the game has a lot of checkpoints. It feels like it's holding your hand. Um, so and I think one of the most fun challenge in Metroidvanias and in Souls-like is the running. Like you're on the edge of your seat, wondering when the next checkpoint will appear. So because they are so sparse, it makes them more valuable. Um, so okay, and next, a very important mechanic is the Z-axis layer system. So entering a doorway may lead to a single room or a corridor leading to another area. Um, since the corridor connects between 2 points, so two doors, I mean, this is one door in this blue area, and this is one door in this red area. And as you can see, there is this additional level passage that is, I would describe as inside the screen. So rather than traveling left or right in a traditional 2D movement, you're going into the screen, and then you're able, that creates more possible connections, more shortcuts, and more exploration. So that's why I call it the Z-axis layer system. It's not just moving like on the X and Y axes anymore. You're also going the Z-axis. So the idea would be that each area would have 3 to 5 vertical layers, which is moving up and down. Um, but then there would be 2 to 3 layers of depth behind the screen, which allows complex navigation. Finally, for this page, checkpoints will replenish health and save the location whenever the player dies. Players may teleport to and from the main hub checkpoint, but not between other checkpoints. And this is based on a game, what's it called? No Rest for the Wicked by I think it's Moon Studios. So I really like that feature. You can teleport from the main hub area to other locations, so you save time running to the areas that you've already visited. but you can't teleport between them, so that encourages you to travel, like explore areas between those ex those external checkpoints. Uh, okay. Now we have going on to bosses and enemies. So bosses are major threats. They have significantly larger health bars than standard enemies. And when you defeat a boss, you're rewarded with their signature ability, two abilities actually, and this will offer more options. So the two abilities, are are determined by these two meters here. It's your skill and your ultimate. So the skill gauge will refill faster, while the ultimate gauge refills slower. But typically, the ultimate is more powerful. It does more for you, and that is why it takes longer to refill. And then and the idea is that when you defeat a boss, you will be able to decide which set of abilities you equip. And so you might actually use the skill and the ability not just in combat, but also to traverse areas. For example, there might be a skill where you can, like a boss, you can jump and then like land, creating an area of effect. And so it's not just for combat, you can jump to higher distances using that skill, for example. So you have to choose wisely, what skill you want to equip for, what environment you're going to travel to and what bosses, what enemies you're going to encounter. Furthermore, so common enemies will use part of the boss movesets. So this is so that so Ajanto told me that if the boss has too many different variations, it might feel it might be difficult for the player to adapt. So I suggested that enemies in like the area leading up to the boss will have part of the boss moveset, so that the player has the chance to subconsciously they've been learning the boss moves the entire time and they don't even realize it. So when they do come up with the boss, it's not actually like the boss might have 12 moves, but actually the player has already faced and learned how to dodge six of them. So it's not that many new moves that they have to learn. So there will be multiple different types of enemies as well for each area to make the combat feel varied and interesting. Okay, so NPCs and dialogues, I'm not entirely sure how much this will be implemented, but the idea is that there will be a currency system where you can purchase items from NPC merchants. An important type of item that can be purchased are called gems. So these give passive effects such as increased speed, reduce rapid cooldown, increased health, and so on. So this is a bit like the talismans from Elden Ring or the charms from Hollow Knight. Okay, uh, let's move on to more technical aspects. So, when deciding the game engine to use, it was pretty much between Godot or Unity. So, because there is Unreal Engine, which is very powerful, but there's a steep learning curve for C++, and the 2D tools in Unreal is not as efficient and well established as Unity or Godot. However, so Godot, although it is free, the scripting language GDScript lacks some key object-oriented programming constructs such as interface. So I feel like that is a disadvantage for me personally, and that is why I chose the Unity engine. It allows me to use C Sharp, which is an industry standard language that fully supports OOP principles. Okay. So a bit about architecture. I do have more detailed uh, diagrams about the architecture in the report. But this is some of the more highlights. Okay, it's the highlights. So to ensure scalability, I'm using specific architectural patterns. So first, the iCollectible interface pattern. So it's a universal contract for items that the player can pick up. So instead of every item that the player encounters that they can put in the inventory, instead of coding them individually, I would use the iCollectible interface. So, for example, healing consumables and coins are things that can be dropped uh, in the game map that the player can pick up. So, I am essentially decoupling the item type from the collection logic. The collection logic is the same for all these items. So this allows me to add new items to the game without breaking the core game loop. Uh, okay, so there's also I'm using a finite state machine for the enemy AI. So rather than hard coding the behavior of the bosses, they use specific states. For example, we have idling, starting off with idling, but then they can do a lunge, they can jump, they can slam or stomp or walk towards the player. And this is guided using a weighted state selector. Okay, so how do I put this? Each state has a probability of being executed, and the probability it changes according to A, what the player is doing, where the player is, and B, the environment, and also C, the boss health. So, for example, when the player is in close range, the player has a very high probability of doing a stomp. Sorry, I meant the boss. The boss has a very high probability of doing a stomp and a low probability of doing a range attack, for example. And conversely, if the player is out of melee range, the boss will have very high probability of doing a range attack and very low probability of doing these mid or close range attacks. And I think that um, this allows the bosses to dynamically select what actions they do based on the player's all these variables, and it makes the boss feel more like a living entity that is able to make decisions that make sense. And it's also and what I'm hoping is that players will learn, that uh, for example, they can avoid a particular attack um by moving closer or moving far away. And I love that kind of thing in games, like coming up with a meta strategy to fight bosses. So that's what I'm hoping will happen with this implementation. So finally, we also have an object pull pattern. So lots of there's a lot of effects that will benefit from this. For example, when players jump, there's like particles for jumping effects. When the boss like slams, the shockwave attacks. So instead of constantly creating and destroying these objects, which will cause lags. I'll be using pooling, which will allow me to recycle pre-instantiated objects, mitigating garbage collection overhead and keeping the frame rate smooth. So Unity has its own like default like garbage collection, but this is more optimized. That's what the manual said anyways. So I'm going with that. Okay, so project timeline. So the project timeline ones, I already started actually from August. I started working on this project, but it doesn't really. I'm just gonna say it's October. So I am at the moment. I'm in the initial prototyping phase. To be specific, I am working on the C-axis layer system that I described, and hopefully I will finish that um, in December during the holidays. And the next critical phase is bus design and implementation between December and January. And in order to complete the project on time, given that there's only one person working on the project, I decided it's necessary that I work on this during the holidays. Okay, so the design of the user interface and promotional video will begin also in December. Because I want to take footage as I make things. I don't want to do it all at the end, but I'll keep working into it all the way to March and April. So level concurrent with the boss design is the level one design. So I've actually already started. So Ajahn though has seen the prototype. Um, so I've already started working on the level one design actually. But it should complete um in January week two, along with the final boss design. So the level two design will occur between January week three and February week two. And level three will begin immediately after level two and it will end in March week two, hopefully. So the last period right here is polishing. Um, this is expected to begin in March week three and conclude in April week four. So by April, I will deliver a fully realized game with approximately six hours of gameplay. Um, there will be customized original character work and a professional trailer and an executable release on itch. I just think itch is better than Steam for this project. Um, Okay, so about the budget, currently I am using the Spine 2D software for animation and it costs $369. This is used for animating sprites. So $369 is approximately 11,944 baht, and there is a reimbursement of 10,000 baht from Jula. Um, and the other costs will include purchasing 2D assets from the Unity store, but I preferably want to use custom assets for this game. Okay. Okay, conclusion. So, I have a market-driven strategy to overcome discoverability by blending the successful Souls-like and Metroidvania genre into the platformer uh, classic. Okay. Our engineering approach is using Unity/C Sharp and design patterns like finite state machine, object pooling to ensure a scalable, high performance product that use object oriented programming, just like I learned in Julia. The project delivers a unique gameplay experience through the C-layer axis system and the narrative boss summoning mechanic. And the ultimate challenge is to deliver a hardcore experience that is genuinely fun. And so I talked to Ajahn Angpe about this, and he's very kindly introduced me to the Game Experience Questionnaire, which I will use to measure psychological immersion and flow. And as part of the playtesting, in order to make this project the best that it can possibly be, given all the limitations. Okay, so thank you for your time. I am open to any questions.
Yes เชิญกรรมการครับ Okay.
Okay, please, I would like to start with a few questions. Um, so I think the format of the report is not what I used to. I used to look for objective first, but in your case, it looks like you have the, let me scroll through. Um, task and deliverable. So I guess that's your objective. I just like to make sure I get what you're trying to do. So you are developing the game for PC game. It's a 2D
Yes.
gameplay, and you intend to do it completely up to the stage where you let people download and play it.
Yes.
Okay. Um, okay. So I get it. It is quite a challenging timeline that
Yes.
you will do the video as well as clean out all the bugs so that people can download and play. Um, in the end, will you have enough time to get feedback from the first few groups of players?
Okay, so I've actually been taking feedback constantly from Ajatos and also from my friends who play similar game genres. So I don't think there's like a stage like a month where I can just do playtesting, but I plan to every iteration of
Mm,
the prototype, I will send out a build of the game to
mm,
my friends and my peers and get feedback from them from gamers like real people who play games.
okay.
Um, it's not gonna be extremely formalized, so nothing like software development. Um, but I think this is typical of indie
Mm,
game development, which is um, getting feedback, iterating uh,
mm,
as I go along. Yeah.
okay. Overall, how long do you plan for your game to be played? I mean, to defeat three bosses, how the total time spent playing for each time, how long would that take?
So there are three levels. So I
Uh-huh.
estimate about, let's say, 2 hours per level. I
Uh-huh.
think at um probably I estimate it to be around 80% of the time is exploration.
Mm,
Exploration and going back and forth between the levels, right? Because you can't teleport immediately.
mm,
And then the 20% of each level will be on the
mm,
boss encounters. So I want the boss to be significantly difficult, like something you might have to at least 2 to 3 times to
mm.
figure out the full move set. Yeah, so that's how I ended up with 6 hours. Um,
Okay, okay.
at first I was gonna put 18 hours, but then Ajahn don't give me
Too long?
check. Yeah, yeah.
Too much for one person. 6 hours is already a lot, I think, for one person's project.
And
Do you think I
I'm,
should reduce
yeah,
it, Ajahn? Though I would like to know if 6 hours is still too much.
uh, and are people able to pause and come back to play?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Good.
It's so I lie again. Hollow Knight is my big inspiration, and I would like to do the way it does pausing, which is that when you pause, you return to the previous checkpoint. So you
Uh-huh.
can't quit in the middle of the game to cheat, like, to de-aggro an
Uh-huh.
enemy or to break a puzzle. You have to restart from the checkpoint that you last saved on. Yeah, that's how I'm
Mm,
doing it.
mm. And from what you have done so far, any technical difficulty that you have encountered
So
in,
many.
yeah,
It,
or so
it's
many
difficult.
in
It's very difficult, but oh, should I show? I did record a video of the gameplay. Ajanto should Ajahn Setash. Would you like to see
yeah, yeah,
the
please.
gameplay? Is there time?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Uh, please hold on a second. Um, the primary there's a lot of the difficulty comes from uh bugs. I think like things not working the way it should. I think I spend more time fixing bugs than actually making new features, unfortunately.
Mm,
But I'm very happy. I think it's very much worth going through this.
mm.
And I'm happy to keep going.
The reason I'm asking because I have sat through many of Ajanto's game developers students, and there are so many different bugs that you have to like correct. So I just wonder that when you do it alone, whether that going to take a lot of your time.
I do my best to find
Mm,
resources to help me.
mm,
So, Unity has a very good ebook on design patterns and architecture.
Mm.
That's what I've been using to um that the code that they provide and then adapt it for my game. Also, YouTube tutorials, incredible. So I've also relied on that.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I hope there's audio. We'll see. Okay. Um, yeah, so I've added in the recent build, I've added tutorials so that um the player can understand what's going on. And you can see that when you attack enemies, whispers are spawned and then they were added to the bar. I will speed this up a bit.
Okay.
So demonstrating some of the platforming here.
Mm. What
Um,
about sound effect? Do you have to choose the music or
oh,
sound
can you hear? Sorry,
to...
can you hear the sound effects? There is
No,
We
sound
can't.
effect.
We can't
but you
hear
can click
Oh,
share sound
okay.
when
Oh,
you
that's.
share the video.
Mm, I'm sorry. Very sorry about that. Uh, oh, I see.
Yeah, share sound.
Yeah. So there's music. There will be music. This is
Oh,
placeholder music, obviously. Um.
so are these musics available online?
So oh so for the final product, I
Mm.
have talked to my friend who does music. He's also in Jula. Uh, Ajanto, the Tan from your class, game design class.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Uh,
okay, okay.
yeah, yes.
That
So
guy.
he's a
Okay, he made
he,
the music for. Yeah, he made quite good music.
Mm.
Yeah. So he's very kindly agreed to help me make the music for it'll be music for bosses, so boss musics, and also for area ambience and the
Mm.
main menu and
Okay.
the ending title. That is
Mm.
the music.
Mm. Um,
The sound so I have talked to Ajanto about this. I have another friend who has a re Envato account. So Envato is like a library of assets. That is, if you purchase the um subscription with them, it's like they license you, you're able to use their assets for anything, and they have sound effects. So I have been using those sound effects for my game, and Ajanto believes that it is okay as long as it's not commercial.
mm.
Uh, yes. Allow me to slow down a bit here.
Okay, I can
Go.
hear.
Yes.
Mm.
Um, so this is sort of what the exploration will be like.
Mm.
Oh, yes, this is the healing. So at the moment, the player has two heals, um, and they can create heals adding here. But when they're in this animation, they can't move and they can't attack. So um, it's a moment of vulnerability. But they
Mm.
may decide, okay, it's necessary. I'll take the risk. I'll heal. Um, yeah.
Mm.
So
So in the
actually,
final
it's
form, you will change from triangles and
yes.
rectangular to real um, enemies,
It,
right?
yes.
Yeah, okay.
I am still deciding on the theme, sort of what the story is going on. So that will affect the appearance of the enemies.
Okay.
Uh, so this is making our way through
Okay.
the puzzle. Okay. Yes, so there would be like gold. So the player is exploring and the player finds there's this secret area that they with hidden treasure.
Mm.
So they can collect the treasure. And then they realize that, oh, we're coming back to a previous area.
Mm.
So there will be a lot of so one of the fun of these games
Mm.
is returning to a previous area and realizing, oh, I've been here before. This is interesting. So it's opening up new doors, um, that kind of thing. Okay,
Mm.
so here the player is opening a shortcut. So this
Uh-huh.
jump pad allows them to jump distances. And you can see here, so the gate opens only from one side. Oh, it's too far.
Mm.
So the player was from this side originally, but they were unable to open the door initially from that side. But when they were on this side, you can see the prompt saying that they can open the gate.
Mm.
And then we're back to the beginning again. So if the player dies, um, they will be able to go through the gate instead of traveling all the way around, again through the enemies they have defeated. So the philosophy is that of shortcuts rather than checkpoints, minimizing checkpoints and using shortcuts instead, to return to previous checkpoints. So to make the checkpoint feel really important when they do show up. I should also mention that the enemies will respawn, but not the bosses. So this is the boss encounter. So this boss has not implemented all the attacks that I've planned yet. Um, and you can see that the boss has significantly longer health
Mm.
significantly more health than the enemies. So this goes on for a bit. Okay, and
You
then
will not show the map because you want players to remember the path themselves, right?
no, there will be a map. I just haven't implemented it yet. You
Oh,
will have to purchase the map from the NPC.
oh, I see.
Yeah.
And technically, when you do the the game map, do you draw it manually or is it like automatic map generation, path generation?
I have not researched into that. I really hope there is a way to do it automatically. Um, so and then be able to show where the player is in real time. But if
Uh,
I have to draw it, I'll draw it.
Uh,
Yeah.
and in Ajanto's other project, they sometimes have to check whether the route is available, or whether some path is leading to nowhere, something like that. I don't know whether you will encounter the same problem here because your map seems complicated also. So maybe some paths that players take might lead to nowhere. I don't know whether you have to check that. You better ask Ajanto, no?
Fortunately, the map is fixed for me. There is no procedural
Map.
generation.
In this kind of game, it's supposed to be human designed.
Yeah.
So, I think we
So
should
there
be
wouldn't be a
fine with
problem.
that. Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I will. Yeah, I have to design the levels myself.
And like
Um,
the steps, is it possible to have some steps that is too high that the character cannot jump to something like that? You know?
yes.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
So
Okay.
that will be used to create one-way paths. So you can jump down but not jump up. And because there is a boss ability that I described where it makes you jump higher, and then jump up and then sit like slam down. So when you unlock that ability, you unlock
Mm,
the way to um go up that step, and so you can access a new area. So that's the Metroidvania kind of feature, right? Um, is that you beat the enemy, you beat the boss, and you use the ability to enter new areas that you couldn't before.
mm.
Almost done. So here the player finishes up the boss, and then that drops money, and then we go to the end of the level. There's a little motivation for the players, and that's the end of the level. Okay.
Okay.
Uh,
One more thing. In Indian, do you, I, I think you may have to define the specification of the PC that can play your game, like minimum, whether it's compatible with Windows, whatever, and
mm,
then they have to have what
Graphic cards.
processor, graphic card, processor, minimum model of processors, minimum amount of RAM, something like that.
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I cannot answer you that at the moment. I have not done
Mm.
research, but I
Yeah.
I will have to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just very far away right now. I'm
Mm.
I'm not 100% certain yet what all the features are, so I don't
Mm.
feel confident to say what level of processing power will be required. But I don't imagine it will exceed anything like, for example, Hollow Knight. So should be fairly don't need a 5090, for example. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Just keep in mind that in the end you should provide that information. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I've written it down. I
Okay.
will remember that.
Okay. I have no more question for the time. Please, อาจารย์ป๊อปอาจารย์สุกฤทธิ์
Okay. Okay, Kyle, thank you so much. I'm a little bit confused.
Ajasuki!
Hi.
Yes.
Yeah,
Hello.
I'm a little bit confused that it is this one is this this presentation is the final or the proposal?
Also,
Proposal.
yes ครับ
But you've done a lot like
Yeah, for
80
proposal.
or 90%, right?
No, Ajasuki, it is like, I would say 30%,
30% I think.
40%. Yeah,
Oh,
not half.
not half.
Not half.
Okay. Okay.
But
But
ขอบคุ
actually,
ณค่ะขอบคุณที่ให้
you
กำลังใจ
you
ค่ะ
you should get like A plus 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 from Ajanto because you've done by alone, right? Done.
Yes.
And okay, let's get back to the questions. Okay, uh, what is the features that you think your game is different, or you can attract the player to play your game, to download and play your games?
Yes. So there are two key features. The first, I will, um, so the first feature is what I described as the second map layer. So speaking from my friend group, they have not yet seen, um, a game, a 2D, specifically 2D platforming game with this kind of um map traversal. So technically it's 2.5. So 2.5D games have this, and this is a natural feature of 3D games, right? Because in 3D games you can move in 3 dimensions. But a 2D game that is very much 2D, the graphics are all 2D. It is not 2.5D, but in which you can travel um through doors that goes into a deeper layer that I don't believe has ever been done before. Whether or not this will make I believe it will make navigation more interesting and complex, but whether it actually achieves that much and how much it does that remains to be seen. But I can say for sure it is unique. Um, and the second feature is the boss abilities, which I describe here. So bosses becoming NPCs is not unique. It is fairly common in RPG games. But I believe so the way I implement it is that for example, this boss here, um he after you defeat the so after you defeat the boss and you get the abilities and you use the ability, it is not just I'm so sorry. Can I please I would like to share a different screen. Uh
Maybe
I
stop
think
sharing
this
this one first.
oh
Is it?
yes, you're right. Uh, because I think this will describe it better. This is like an earlier pitch proposal that I think I showed Ajanto. Okay, so for example, when you defeat this enemy, this boss, and you gain this boss ability, his so y you don't. It's not the player. So technically, it's not the player who performs the action. It is the boss. You summon the boss, to do damage for you. And the opportunity here is that the boss is able to interact and do dialogue with the other boss or the enemy. And this creates potential for narrative. Um, uh, because the way the boss reacts, for example, maybe the boss is laughing, and this already creates characterization that is quite rare in Souls game. So if you play Souls game, bosses tend not to have that much um personality beyond attacking and maybe some cutscenes. But what this does, this boss ability with the boss being summoned, and is the boss is able to speak, for example, they can taunt the other enemy, the other boss. They can say like, "Hello, I remember you," and this creates history. It creates a feeling of a bigger world. And I think this will add to the game feel. Again, I'm not going for the dark fantasy, everyone is depressed, everyone hates everyone else kind of vibe. So I want the world to feel more alive and to feel like these are, like individual people, if that makes sense. So I think that is also a unique feature.
Okay, thank you. What is the target group of your game?
Uh, so the target group is, I would say, probably young adults up to 40, 50. Although older people also play Souls game, but it would be for gamers who are interested in a challenge. So we have such the likes of Hollow Knight Silk Song, Elden Ring. Um, I would say f fans of these games. There's a lot of them. And China is also a big market because we have like Wukong. We also have recently Wushang Fallen Feathers. That's also a market as well. Um,
Okay.
mm.
So if you think, I think you can focus on um the your target group's preference, or like the favorite thing that they like to play the games. Like I think in your course, and Atanto can tell you that for each age group or the sex, what is the preference, and how we can attract them to download your games. Do you have the real plan to release this game, or you just do it in this senior project?
I would like to um So ideally, I would like to be able to release this game, but practically speaking, I need way more funding. For example, lots of assets I am uncertain whether I can actually use in a commercial project. So already that is a barrier to release. Um, so yeah, I would need a lot more funding first before I can really say that. Mm.
Okay, so I think Ajanto should organize the real game company that try to sell and give you some fund about that. So I'm sorry ครับอาจารย์โต Okay.
จริงๆ
Okay. Uh,
จริงๆ there is a student project that they actually talk to a game company and got associated and then they now well they're not releasing it yet but they'll soon release the game.
that's nice
อ่ะ
ครับ Okay. I hope I have no questions anymore, but I'm impressed by your effort and the result. So just good luck and try to keep working hard like this. And I'm very keen to see your final product in the next semester นะครับ
ขอบคุณค่ะ
Yeah,
อาจารย์
same.
สุ
I'm
กิ
looking
I
forward to
will I will
seeing the
oh thank
product.
you อาจารย์
Uh,
ขอบคุณค่ะ I hope to make you all very proud. Um, it's worth it was worth that you chose to be my committee advisor. I will make it worth it. I promise you. ขอบคุณขอบคุณมากเลยค่ะ
uh,
โอเคครับถ้างั้นก็
It's just one thing I'm worried about, Ajahn Sukri, that you said I should make the game targeting the audience, which is that this is not the kind of game that Ajahn Tho plays at all. Ajahn Tho plays like JRPG. So I am worried if I make it too much. I'm worried he won't be able to give me good feedback anymore. And then he would just say it's too difficult. So
you have to find the target audience as well.
Yeah. Just I think
Hmm.
just choose one of the group and then try to focus on their preference.
Yes.
And I think
For
we
example,
can yeah
yeah, for example, if you think that you want your games to be the casual games and it can be for everyone, so you have to find the preference of everyone, something like that. The trends, or you can have some gimmicks for everyone that they like. They may like, yes, and because I think we can change we can change these features in every release of your games. I think it could be like one of the function that can help your game interesting. Yes.
Thank you. I'll try to implement that, yes. Mm. Very fortunately, a lot of my friends fall into the category of the audience who wants to play this game, this genre, so I have quite a few people to talk to.
Yeah, you can talk to them and just like like the first group that you can focus is in the people in your age.
Yes.
That would be
Yeah,
fine.
most certainly, yes.
Yeah, and then for my kids, I, I can give you the feedback because
That's
if my
very
kids
nice.
can test, I think he can give you the feedback for his age group.
Yeah. Yeah, I love to send your son a copy of the build. I'm sure he'll have fun.
Okay, thank you.
โอเคครับ so I think that's all the questions so well done.
อาจารย์โต I don't think you asked me anything though.
I think I already asked enough.
Okay.
well anyway okay ครับ so I think that's it for today but you must go and check the Moodle thing so
Yeah,
that
I
your
will talk to
file will be on
feedback.
again so yeah so all of us can keep them up.
Mm. I'm very sorry about that. I have no idea what I did wrong, but I will correct it as soon as possible.
โอเคครับก็ thank you very much ครับอาจารย์ทุกท่านครับ
ได้ค
ครั
รั
บผ
บ
ม
ขอบคุณครั
ยิ
บ
นดี
thank
ครับ
you
ขอบ
very
คุณ
much
ครับ
ค
ขอบคุณ
รับ
I
บ๊า
hope
ย
you
บาย
enjoyed
ค
my
รับ
presentation. Thank you so much.
yeah yeah โตครับเรามีกลุ่มเดียวใช่ปะเอ่ยหรือว่าเรามี
กลุ่มเดียวครับวันนี้
กลุ่
กลุ่ม
มเดียวครับ
เดียวครับเท่านี้
ได้
ครับวันนี้
ครับโต
ครับผม
ได้ครับโตขอบคุณครับ
ขอบคุณ
โอเค
ครับ
ครับ
สวัสดีครับ
ครับสวัสดีค
สวัสดี
รับ
ครับ
ครับ
Yeah.